why barbers don't ask for help. One is we have really good intuition. Two, we have these egos and we're pretty wise. We have like razor sharp wisdom and wit, and we think we know a lot of times because our intuition has served us for so long. But another reason why we don't ask is because we don't have anybody to ask. Hey there, welcome to What Keeps You Up at Night podcast. I'm your host, Kiné, and this is the Build in Public edition. I don't know what day we're on. I think it's like day 8 or 9. But what it's a Sunday and I'm working, not like a full day of work, but a couple hours. Why? Because I needed to meet with someone, a colleague, and he was available on Sunday. And so I said, I'm taking the meeting. What I needed from this colleague was real numbers. So this colleague of mine came from a Goldman Sachs program that I was in, I think it was 2 years ago. And what I learned from that is you kind of when you're in these kinds of programs, you learn who's good at what. And this particular person was good at the numbers, like spreadsheets and performers, that kind of thing. So I wanted to get this information from him, and he's also creative. So he was like the perfect person to talk to because he can understand my creative brain without being too judgmental. Because sometimes numbers people or people who are very like just about the data are too like they don't understand the great creative side and how the creative side can somehow mess up the numbers. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that I have moved too fast, I built too fast, and I rely on my intuition too much. My intuition, though, was right. When we did these numbers, I had a number in my head of the exact amount of barbers I needed in order to make this work. And I was right, except one thing, right? So I knew I needed to do 50 sessions in order to get the right amount of information. But I also need 50 barbers to come into the community. So if I do 50 sessions, even if I did all 50 sessions in 1 month, all of those barbers are not going to sign up for the community. So it's typically I have a good like 80, sometimes 90% close rate. That's just one, how good I am at what I do, but also how much the need is there and not being filled. So some of it is me, but a lot of it is not me. So I know that I could get about an 80, 90% close rate, but even if I do, that's not going to be enough. So I'll have to do more sessions in order to get the right number of barbers, which is that on the low end 50. That's kind of the break even number. That's not lucrative. That's not, oh, you're winning, girl. That's like, all right, you did it. Now keep going. Um, so if I get 40 barbers to say yes and go into the community, so that's like an 80%. I just did the numbers. That's like an 80% um, rate. Then if I get 40 of those barbers to go in, I really only need to do enough to get 10 more barbers in. So I'll figure that out as I go. But that was a good marker number to know. That's one milestone I have, is that this is how many I need in this group. And then how many I need to say yes to this is how many one-on-ones I need to do, and then how many I need to say yes. So that means I'll probably have to up that number of 50 one-on-ones to about 70 one-on-ones in order to get the number that I need to come into the community. Once I get that right number in the community, and I need to do this as fast as possible, then I can start offering things. The community, yes, but also some in-person um marketing, because the person I spoke to, he's really good at marketing, and online marketing is one thing, but it's only going to do so much. So I'm going to have to do some in-person things. So I already been thinking about this in-person thing, and I have this idea like barber dinners. That's probably not a good marketable name, but that's kind of the idea, is it? And maybe it's lunch because dinner can get expensive. So like a barber lunch, and we come together. Um, a good number of barbers where we have a conversation, and then there's like a group, right? A group of barbers. We have some hors d'oeuvres, but then there's like a VIP group that really is the more wise, the more been in the business a long time, the more dedicated to this system, understands what it means to pour into your clients, not just into the haircut. And so that group of barbers will be sort of like founding members and would give a deeper level of insight into what is needed in this community, but also what the client needs because I've been out of the chair for about 15 years now. So that's too long for me to be the person to determine what clients need. I'm smart enough to know that I don't know enough to make that decision. I do have a ego. So a lot of times I think I know, but most of when I think I know, it's not necessarily ego. A lot of times it is intuition, and my intuition has never failed me. But then you can only go off of intuition for so long where you really need data, and that's why I took this meeting or asked for this meeting. And that brings me to something else is what and I'm writing about this now, and that is why barbers don't ask for help. One is we have really good intuition. Two, we have these egos, and we're pretty wise. We have like razor sharp wisdom and wit, and we think we know a lot of times because our intuition has served us for so long. But another reason why we don't ask is because we don't have anybody to ask. There's nobody more savvy, more capable than we are. So, like, I'm like, "Where's my Kiné?" I don't have a Kiné that I can call. A lot of times, I have to call 2 or 3 people to and pull their wisdom together to find what I really need. In this case, I didn't have to do that. I went right directly to the source of what I needed. I knew what I needed, and then that's another thing. We don't always ask for help because we don't always know what we need. In this case, I did. I knew what I needed. So, I have that number. I have the number of barbers I need. I also have the number of the price of the community, what the community needs to be. I have the price of the one-on-ones and what they need to be and how that's going to take me to the next level and then pay for some of these dinners or lunches or whatever that I'm putting in place. And then I also have a number for when I get a space of my own, what that needs to be, what I need to be looking at. So a lot of times you wanna have and I mostly would advise somebody to have a, contingency fund or, like, to have saved up a certain amount. I'm taking a big risk, and I'm not really doing that. I do have, like, credit I can fall back on, and this place that I would either rent or buy, um they might require me to have something in the bank, and I do have something in the bank, but it's probably not enough for what I am planning. So, I have to look at that it is a risk to do it like that, and I've done it that way before, where I have, not had enough cushion in order to get myself through the hard times. But here's the thing, I am building in the hard times. And this I've done before. And this is something you can think of. If you are building your business during a hard time, then right after the hard time is over, you can expect some growth. But you do need to then start putting money away so that you have that cushion for when the bad time comes again. Because they're cyclical. This is the way business goes, up and down, up and down. So if you can make it through this hard time, which right now is we're in a recession, the war is happening in Dubai. My locations are Dubai and Vegas. And although Vegas is doing sort of okay right now, it's not the same place it used to be. It's not thriving. So if I can start during this hard time, when it gets back and stuff starts to move again, I can benefit from that and, but it just is a matter of me following the numbers. I'm gonna look at this, spreadsheet real quick. That's the other thing I got as a gift. I got a spreadsheet where so I do have the startup cost. That's the biggest part of this, and I can mess with these numbers a little bit. But I also have the cash flow and the income statement and the balance sheet. And this is the stuff that a lot of times barbers are not looking at when building a business and figuring out what to do next. But also this person asked me some critical questions that I'm sure the barbers will be asking me to make sure I am giving them a way for them to grow their business. This can't just be for me to grow my business. This has to be reciprocity. So as they tell me what they need, I'm going to serve them in a way that allows it to pour into them, but also for them to pour into their clients. And then for that, what they're doing to pour in their clients, to pour back into their business so it grows their business. And then we keep going. And it's a win, win, win. Win for me, win for the barbers, win for the clients. You see? Good. So that's all for now. There's probably a lot more that I could have told you about this meeting, but I got out as much as I could. So I'll just say see you sooner and love you much.